100 WIMG and WZBN Channel 25 are dedicated to serving the many communities within our area. One thing that is very apparent is the increase of violence in the country and this area as well. WIMG and WZBN are dedicated to do their part constructively to put a halt to the escalation of crime. And now, the moderator for this evening's program.
And welcome to Violence Serves No Purpose. I'm your host, Jacque Howard, and you are listening over WIMG 1300 on the AM dial, and over the internet we can be heard at WIMG1300.com, and if you're watching on television, it's via WZBN Channel 25 in Mercer County, New Jersey. Today we're going to switch things up as far as Violence Serves No Purpose. We're going to talk about an alternative way to combat violence, and everyone knows that I'm a big art fan, and when I think about art, I think about all realms of art, and that could be culinary, fashion, music, which leads me to my guest. And my guest is Jesse Elliot. And Jesse Elliot, welcome to Violence Serves No Purpose.
Thanks for having me. Jesse,
tell me a little bit, and tell me and the listening audiences, should I say, a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what brought you to Trenton?
So I grew up in Lawrence. I've been working in Trenton for about 2 years now, and I live in Groveville. Been working for Trenton Makes Inc., which is a real estate development company. I write for several community newspapers, and I recently started the Trenton Area Music Club. I'm invested in the city, and I'm happy to tell you all about it.
Mm-hmm. And the folks who are not watching over television, Jesse is one of those, back in his 80s, he would be considered a yuppie, a young urban professional. He's a young man who's got great aspirations. He's got local ties. You're with the Lawrence High School, correct?
That's true.
With the Lawrence High School, he's got a very diverse background. He's very interested in the reinvention of the city of Trenton, and recognizes, like so many of this growing army of Trentonians, that arts can be that vehicle that will actually change the city structure. So Jesse, talk a little bit more about like your background and what you're doing for work right now, and then we'll lead that into why you're on the show.
Well, like I said, I've been here for about 2 years. Started as a volunteer in service to America through AmeriCorps as a development assistant for Court-Appointed Special Advocates, which is a child advocacy nonprofit. Wrote grants, put on events for them. When that year of service ended, I landed the job with Trenton Makes. We do real estate development in the city. Roland Pott, as most Trentonians know, is the owner of the business, and I help him with marketing, with property management, project management. And this is my home. It's a small extension from where I grew up in Lawrence, and I'm invested in the community. So it's been great so far.
Awesome. Yeah, and his voice is low and smooth, but that's because he's got that cool demeanor. He would probably be categorized as like almost a beatnik if he was born in the 60s. He's got one of those kind of nice flows about him. So Jesse, talk a little bit about the AmeriCorps and the VISTA program, because I've had other guests on the program who were affiliated with AmeriCorps and were AmeriCorps Vistas, and connected with the Bonner Foundation and so forth. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so AmeriCorps has many different branches. I was a volunteer in service to America, which is a VISTA. We provided indirect service to communities throughout the country. I applied directly to work with court-appointed special advocates because I felt that suited me well. I lived at poverty level wages. That's part of the program for the year, and gave back in ways that I could. Through my role, and as I mentioned, that role was writing grants, putting on fundraising events. It was a wonderful opportunity. They provided health insurance too, which was a perk coming out of school. It set me up for where I am right now in the city. In terms of networking, I had plenty of opportunities to do that through Kiva Case, who's my mentor, recently left the city, as you know.
Unfortunately.
Yes, but not at heart, of course, and introduced me to Roland through STARS, South Trenton Area Resident Society, and I'm a committee member. and so Vista was a great professional track coming out of school.
And so for the folks who are curious about AmeriCorps, it's MERICORPS, AmeriCorps, and then there's different branches of that. But that's also another gateway for communities to reach out to the young college graduates and people who are still in school.
Yeah,
correct.
But as a Vista, you had to have a college degree. But there are and Triple C, which is more direct service, which you don't need a college degree for.
Well, fantastic. So I don't want to cut you off. We'll get back to it. Sure. But so just considering a gateway into the city of having young adults come in and offer different services through a structured national program called AmeriCorps.
Yes.
So for the people out there who are having some questions about someone they may know in their youth organization or in their network who may need a little help, a little direction, and may not want to go into the military or may not have a desire to go or be prepared to go to college, looking at AmeriCorps as a stepping stone into something else would be a good opportunity, because again it could provide you the opportunity to travel to a different area, a different locale, to actually experience something else, so that until those people mature. I know when I was coming up, not that I'm that old, watch yourself, programs like this, I know they were around, but they just weren't publicized so much, so it was a little bit more difficult. You kind of had to learn or figure out for yourself. So it's good that AmeriCorps has that program that's out there. Before we continue, I want to say that you're listening to Violence Serves No Purpose. I am your host, Jacque Howard, and this is WIMG 1300 AM and WZBN Channel 25 on television, Mercer County, New Jersey, and WIMG1300.com. And I'm speaking with Jesse Elliot, who is a Lawrence Township Lawrence High graduate who was an AmeriCorps Vista. Currently works for Roland Pott, who's also a friend at the Trenton Makes Inc. They are property developers. They do a lot of wonderful things here in the city. They partner with a lot of different other organizations and entities. And what we're going to be talking about from this point forward is the Trenton Area Music Club. And that is a segue to what I believe art can do in the city of Trenton. So Jesse, talk a little bit about how you came up with the idea for the Trenton Area Music Club, who's involved, etc.
Well, the idea came to me, I guess, 2.5 months ago. I was with some friends at a local open mic, John and Peter's place, actually, in New Hope. And, we're talking about music, we're performing, talking about our performances, and, I said, let's start a music club. Now, there wasn't really any, coming from a community development background, that hadn't developed that conversation, but I went home, thought about it, ended up writing a 13-page business plan that included a mission and vision and organizational hierarchies, so on and so forth. And since then, it's gained a lot of reception. We are holding events. We're having jam sessions, and I can tell you more about the ultimate goal when you wish.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna talk about that in the second half of the program. We've got a couple of minutes before we have our break. But as far as coming up with the idea of creating this club, you said you wrote a 13-page business plan that night, so it was inspiration.
Well, it wasn't that night, but
okay.
But I gathered my thoughts pretty vigorously for a week or so, and and I thought, as a musician myself, what are things that I'm missing in the communities, that I'm engaging with, and one of them, happened to be, where's the venue in Trenton, for instance, where are these concerts? How can I become a better musician? I have skills. How can I apply those skills? So, we focus on workshops. Application-based workshops and concerts, and it's about professional and economic development at the end of the day for these musicians.
Yeah, I like how you put that, and I saw some of the details about your plan, which I think
Right.
is wonderful, just like I told you before. The structure of it, the fact that it's just not taking an artist and saying, okay, well, here you're going to perform, but it's also like reaching out to the community, it's also having workshops so that artists and so forth can get better on their own.
Exactly.
But let's back up, and you said that you're a musician yourself. So talk to me about your craft.
Well, I'm a pianist. I play guitar. I sing, a lot of singer-songwriter kind of stuff. And, I took the English route in college, and music has always been one of my passions, along with writing, as you know. And personally, this is personal at the end of the day. I do want, to have, people to share my ideas with, and I want others to share theirs. And I've always grown as a musician when I've been collaborating, whether it be in bands, whether it be just talking about things I'm listening to with other people, and so that's my background. Mm-hmm. Generally.
Yeah, for folks out there, you hear the word collaboration that Jesse just put out there, but I like to also use partnerships, because if we can each pull our own strengths together, it minimizes all of our weaknesses, and we all kind of can sort of benefit from that. So back to you, you're a musician, like singer, songwriter, pianist. Mm-hmm. Just give me a little idea of what your flavor and your flow is like.
Well, I love, the 60s and 70s music, soul. I love Al Green, Stevie Wonder, Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, Tom Waits, Neil Young. Those tend to be who I listen to. I also listen to a lot of jazz, Coltrane, Davis, obviously. Mm. And folk music, so at the end of the day, my songs are based in the singer-songwriter tradition, which I'm personally curious about. I mean, I want to know more about, the development of a song, of how you can develop a process, because it's very much a mysterious thing at the end of the day, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You don't hear much about. Taking apart a song and learning how it's developed and then producing your own. And I think a lot of musicians in the area could benefit from those types of conversations.
Mm-hmm. Really putting more effort into the actual groundwork of musical theory. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so this is application-based. So we're not going to be, the music club doesn't focus on how to play a scale or how to read sheet music. It's about how do you develop your craft after those foundations are already there. Songwriting workshop, a DJ techniques workshop. We're about professional development, so we want to hold workshops on, how to create a press kit, things like that, because there's so much talent in this city. Trenton is actually known for its musicians, and there are a lot of musicians out there who are doing wonderful things. It's just a matter of how they rise to that next level, how they tone their craft, how they get that press kit made, how they get their name out there.
Yeah, we're just about up on a break, Jesse. We've got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to run into something, and then in the second half of the program, we're gonna let you really get into the meat and potatoes about the Trenton Area Music Club. But what I've been doing is speaking with Jesse Elliot, who's a friend of mine. He is from Lawrence Township, graduated Lawrence High, currently is in the city. He is an artist, musician himself, but he's also affiliated with economic development. He's got a background in English and in writing. He is one of the young folks who are here in the city of Trenton because he wants to be here.
Yes.
He doesn't look at all the negative publicity or the things that say stay away from Trenton. He's here and he's looking and reaching out to people like he did with me. He wants to know who he should speak to, who he should have conversation with, how he can get connected, all for the betterment of the city itself. So that's something to keep in mind. My name is Jacque Howard. I'm your host. You're listening to Violence Serves No Purpose. We're just about up on a break, as I said. It's WIMG1300.com, WIMG1300 AM, and WZBN Channel 25 in Mercer County, New Jersey. We'll be back in a moment.
Walk blindly to the light and reach out for his hand. Don't ask any questions and don't try to understand. Open up your mind and then open up your heart.
Are you an inventor? Or do you know an inventor who would like to attempt to have an invention or idea patented and submitted to industry? InventHelp, America's #1 invention company, has inventors' information you can have free. Record your invention's date of origination, plus get an informative brochure and other material of interest to new inventors from the company whose patent referral services have helped secure more than 7,000 patents. Call now, 800-619-2181. That's 800-619-2181. Even if you only have an idea for improving an existing product and don't know where to go with it, you'll want this free inventor's information. It shows how InventHelp may assist you in trying to patent your invention and submit it to industry. It's a free call, so call now. 800-619-2181. 800-619-2181. That's 800-619-2181.
Walk blindly to the light and reach out for his hand. Don't ask any questions and don't try to understand.
And welcome back to Violence Serves No Purpose. I'm your host, Jacque Howard. You're listening to WIMG 1300 AM, and we can be found on the internet as well at WIMG1300.com. And if you're watching on television, it's via WZBN, Channel 25, serving Mercer County, New Jersey. I'm speaking with Jesse Elliot, a friend of mine, a young man from Lawrence Township who graduated from Lawrence High. Jesse was an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Volunteer, yes. Mm-hmm. But he's now currently working with Roland Potts' organization, the Trenton Makes, Inc., doing some urban redevelopment programs. Jesse has experience in writing grants, and he's done different things as far as putting on events. But in addition to that, he's also an English major. And we've been chatting about his latest project called the Trenton Area Music Club. Jesse shared with us just before the break that he is a musician as well, meaning he's a singer-songwriter, and he's a pianist as well. He has he likes to consider 60s and 70s soul and jazz. He's a big Coltrane fan. I assume Donald Byrd's in there as well. You didn't say it, but Birdman. Yeah. And also Al Green and Miles Davis and on and on and on. But we want to focus on the second half of the program to talk about the Trenton Area Music Club. So briefly, Jesse, just talk about like how you came up with the idea, what forged this all together, and then we'll jump into some other things about that.
Yeah, so, like I said, it's a couple months old, and the idea behind the organization is to develop a culture of professionally and economically empowered musicians in the Trenton area. We do that through application-based workshops and concerts. Application-based workshops are, things like songwriting, DJ techniques, lyrics, rapping, and then professional courses, workshops, whatever you want to call them. And the concerts, majority of proceeds from the concerts that we put on in town go back to the musicians, and a piece goes back to the organization. We currently hold jam sessions bi-weekly at Bethany Church.
And where's that located for us?
At 400 Hamilton Avenue, across from Columbus Park.
Okay, and what time is that?
We do that 7 to 8 bi-weekly, so this upcoming Wednesday we have an event, but 2 Wednesdays from this upcoming Wednesday will be from 8 to 9 at Bethany Church, and then we hold our organizational meetings after that from 9 to 10. And our event is at the Trenton Social this week, where we will be showcasing some local musicians and doing just like what I said, raising some money for the musicians in our organization.
Well, we got to do a big shout out to Trenton Social, my boy TC over there and his staff. Everyone knows that I'm a big supporter of that facility, not only for meetings, but a wonderful time to meet and gather with friends. And the food's awesome, and the location is fantastic. So what time is the Trenton Area Music Club going to be meeting at Trenton Social for their event on this Wednesday?
It's 7 to 10.
7 to 10.
7 to 10. We have 4 to 5 acts right now. They're affiliated with the organization. They're looking to see us grow as we're looking to see them grow as musicians. So it should be a pretty cool event, and we're really excited about it.
And can you just tell the listening audience a little bit about these 4 to 5 acts, like what kind of genre they're with?
We got a couple singer-songwriter, solo acts. They might be playing with one or two people. A solo, a singer-songwriter band. Luke Elliot, he's actually my brother. He's on Your Bird Records, which is a minor label. He's part of the professional development piece that I've been talking about.
Great.
And we have another indie rock band that should be playing, and possibly a jazz band. We're trying to get that in there as well.
Fantastic. So again, going back to this whole partnership, collaboration, and Trenton as a whole, it's diverse. I mean, so we're going to have this event at the Trenton Social, located on Broad Street, South Broad Street, just across from the arena. Trenton Area Music Club is going to be there with 4 or 5 acts from 7 to 10 p.m. They're going to be showcasing. It's going to be like a fundraiser as well, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, donations and tips are appreciated.
Donations.
So whatever is given to the organization that night, 60% will go back to the musicians, 40% back to us, and that's how that works every time.
All right, and so with the Trenton Area Music Club, about what's the amount of people? Like, generally, is this like hundreds of people, tens of people? What's it like?
Well, I got a mailing list of about 40 people right now.
Okay.
I'm about at that MailChimp threshold, so I'm hoping to get a newsletter out pretty soon where people can sign up for it. But and this group is diverse. I mean, we have music professionals, we have community leaders, we have musicians from all walks of life, from the Trenton area and the surrounding area. So that's basically the group.
And so this group is not necessarily, do you have to be a musician or a working musician? This is more for people who appreciate music and want to support music, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have, obviously organizational meetings from 9 to 10 after the jam sessions, and that's for whoever wants to come out and lend a hand in terms of marketing, in terms of helping plan concerts, fundraising, membership drives, that whole thing, budgets, we need accountants,
all the stuff that artists really
lawyers.
don't want to do.
Yes,
okay.
All those things. And then the jam sessions are open to anyone, and right now, the jam sessions, the purpose really is just to get musicians interested in coming out to the clubs, and then hopefully, within the next 6 months, we should see the workshops developing and people signing up for them.
Okay, and Jesse, what's the easiest way for people to get on the mailing list and get in contact with you or the Trenton Area Music Club?
Well, people can send me an email at Jesse, JESSE.TAMC@gmail.com. They can call me. I'm very accessible, 609-902-4661. And we have a Facebook page up at facebook.com/Trenton Area Music Club. Okay,
so folks, again, that's Jesse Elliot, and that's Jesse Elliot, TAMC, standing...
Or Jesse.TAMC.
Okay, my bad. Let's get that right. So Jesse.TAMC@gmail.com. Telephone is 609-902-4661.
Correct.
And you can also find Trenton Area Music Club on Facebook.
Yes, you can.
That's correct. So I would encourage folks, if I know the listening audience, most of the churches and organizations, you have a musician, you have a band, you have a choir. It might be a good idea to start partnering or collaborating or thinking about how you can maybe pull some of your talent and think about how, as a whole, the city of Trenton's music scene can get better. Because if we have more venues, if we have more paid musicians, everyone who is a musician is going to benefit. And along with any marketing that takes place, you're going to have people to handle books, people to have costumes, people to book shows, venues, lighting, travel, places to have after parties, et cetera, et cetera. So give that some thought because it's all about that urban revitalization. So Jesse is, to me, he's one of those young folks who he gets it. And I don't know if he fully gets it. I've told him, but he gets it. He's affiliated with a redevelopment company that's done wonderful things here in the city, and they're rooted in the city. In addition to that, he's got a background in service. He's a musician himself. And he's meeting with the right people, and he's just trying to get exposure, and this would be another one of those opportunities to get in on the ground floor. You are listening and watching the program Violence Serves No Purpose over WIMG 1300 AM, WZBN Channel 25 in Mercer County, and WIMG1300.com over the internet. I'm Jacque Howard, your host, and I'm speaking with Jesse Elliot, again, from the Trenton Area Music Club. So, Jesse, let's continue to talk about the music club and what are some of the short-term and long-term goals of the music club.
So, as I mentioned, we created an organizational budget recently, and from that came certain goals that we feel are going to help us realize our mission. One of them being we hope to hold 6 events this year, different bars or restaurants throughout the city and the surrounding area. They'll be structured very much so like the one we're having this upcoming Wednesday on the 8th at the Social. And we're also hoping to have workshops ready within 6 months. That's going to require community members coming out who are experienced in music development, in terms of songwriting, in terms of professionalism, to help us create those curriculums. So I'm meeting all the time, developing this mailing list. It's getting everybody from the professors to the rapper on the street who just needs a place and a venue to express himself and of course become professional and do their thing. That's basically our goal. We hope to have a venue within the year. We're looking around, and at that point, hopefully Trenton will have a venue of its own that's just for music and a place for musicians and audiences. So those are really our 3 goals, and we always need members. And we have yet to fine-tune what a member is, but it would be somebody who can get to concerts for free, who can attend a workshop, and there'd be some cost associated with that because we're trying to, but minimal, and getting off the ground, and we're just looking for people to come out and lend us a hand, in any way, shape, or form. So.
Well, fantastic. I'm gonna. We're just about finished with the program, but I'm gonna reveal some things here, and I'm just gonna. It's about time. I feel the Spirit's moving in me. If you want to be that change, you got to get in the game. You got to figure out where you can fit in. If you're an artist, a musician, if you've got some talent, you've got some time, you have some financing, you want to revitalize the city of Trenton and its community, and you want to make a big difference, start looking for some people you can talk to, you can network with. I know there's people in the area who could write big checks. We don't necessarily need the big checks. They're good and everything, but we want some people who want to get in the game. We want some foot soldiers. We want some people who see Trenton as Brooklyn in 5 years from now, or sees Trenton as Richmond, Virginia 5 years from now, or even shorter. We're in a wonderful situation right now. We've got fantastic resources. We've got diversity. We've got a growing crop of young adults who want to be in Trenton. We've got excellent housing structure. There's no need for us to look at the alternative as violence, and drugs, and all those other things. What we need to do is get connected, work on the communication, find some people. There's several ways that you can do that. One way you can reach out to WIMG 1300. Leave your information there. Give them a call and tell them who you are. You can reach out to me, Jacque Howard, at 609-433-0489. You're interested in music, you want to be part of the music business, reach out to Jesse Elliot, 609-902-4661. Show up at the Trenton Social on Wednesday from 7 to 10 for the jam session. Hear 4 or 5 acts. Talk to TC. Show up there once in a while and see what's going on in this growing arts community. Get your head out of the sand. Get involved, get in the game. You've been listening to Violence Serves No Purpose. I'm your host, Jacque Howard. This has been WIMG 1300 AM. Also over the television at WZBN Channel 25 in Mercer County, New Jersey, and on the internet, WIMG1300.com. Good night.
Walk blindly to the light and reach out for his hand.